Hey everybody, it's Ben, and I'm back once again with another video for you guys. Today I'm going to give you my quick thoughts on Nightwing, issue number 2. The series is written by Tim Seeley, with the artwork being done by Javier Fernandez and the colouring being done by Chris Sotomayor. Once again, if I'm mispronouncing any of these names, I do apologise. If you've watched any of my previous videos in the past, you'll know that pronouncing difficult to pronounce writers and artists' names isn't exactly something that's within my wheelhouse, so to speak. So, on to the issue. So, the issue picks up right after the events of the ending of issue 1, where we have Dick being forced to team up and partner up with this character of Raptor, who is an agent for the Parliament of Owls, which is a European offshoot of the Court of Owls. So once again, we have an opening discussion where, you know, Raptor basically tells Dick, everything that Batman taught you is wrong. I'm going to teach you a few things, and I'm going to actually, essentially make you a better hero and a better, agent of the Parliament of Owls through this partnership. So we find out that the first mission that they've been dispatched on by the Parliament is to retrieve a ship that was taken from a apparent very prominent member of the Parliament of Owls, and we find out that the ship in question has actually been hijacked by members of the Cobra cult, which we find out are actually experimenting on a shipment full of refugees, which this prominent member of the Parliament of Owls has been keeping stowed below in the in the storage space in the ship. And we find out that the Cobra agents have actually been experimenting on these refugees, or on these captives, splicing together both human and DNA, reptilian DNA, with some pretty horrific and horrible results. There's a really great scene where Nightwing and Raptor actually arrive on the ship initially, and Raptor basically tells him, I'm not much for planning myself. I usually look before I leap and then figure out what I'm going to do in terms of a plan, on the way down, in terms of, free falling, and then figure out what I'm going to do then. And it's on this sort of note that Dick sort of begins to realize, perhaps I have actually got something in common with this guy, because it has been, a long-standing modus operandi, or a long-standing character trait of Dick Grayson, where he often looks before he leaps himself and then figures out what he's going to do in terms of a plan, as he himself is free falling and then basically improvising and coming up with a plan pretty much on the fly. No pun intended. So it's on this ground that we perhaps see some common ground beginning to develop between these two characters, and then it sort of comes apart where they actually manage to find the refugees, where Dick's actually approached by this little girl who there's a really sweet exchange actually, where she says birdie, where she actually touches the Nightwing insignia on his uniform, and Raptor's basically looking at him as if to say, look, I know what you're thinking. You want to, rescue these refugees. You want to get them to a safe haven or a safe port, and then obviously just return the empty ship back to the Parliament. So we then have another, the two being sent on another mission by the Parliament, and we have a fisticuff confrontation between Raptor and Dick Grayson, where, Raptor basically tells him, I know you were thinking back on that ship. I know you wanted to rescue those refugees. I know you're playing, a long-term, a long-term goal or a long-term plan with the Parliament. I know you want them brought to justice. I know you want them brought into the light. And we actually find out that Raptor himself actually has his own plans for the Parliament, in terms of his own contingency plan in order to bring the Parliament of Owls out from the darkness and into the light, so to speak. But it's sort of interesting if, I was about to say Talon, if Raptor is actually being, 100% truthful, or if he's just saying that in order to get Nightwing back on his side and back into Nightwing's good graces. But there's also some really great dialogue exchanges where, Raptor basically tells him, I'm the guy with one foot in the darkness already. You don't have to worry, you can trust me. I'm going to make sure that if you do fall, I'm going to make sure that you don't fall too far into the darkness. So there's this interesting dubious nature to the, this new this beginning partnership between Raptor and Nightwing, they don't initially trust each other, and then, Nightwing slowly starts to maybe trust this guy, and then they're sort of back on polar opposite sides of the fence, so to speak. So it'll be interesting to see if these two do actually manage to find some common ground over the course of the next few issues and forge not so much a partnership, but definitely, hopefully, a mentor-mentee relationship where Raptor actually manages to pass on a few of his lessons to Dick Grayson. I mentioned before that the relationship between Dick and Raptor sort of reminds me of the Talon and Damian Wayne or Robin relationship in the Batman vs. Robin DC original animated movie, whereby he took Damian under his wing and essentially tried to get him to forget everything that Batman taught him, basically telling him that everything that Batman was taught him was wrong, and that his voice being in his head telling him, justice not vengeance was also wrong. So I'm getting sort of a Talon and Robin relationship vibe from Raptor and Nightwing right now. But it's really interesting, it's really quite cool and different in the respect that, there is actually some common ground between Dick and Raptor going forward. Overall, I really, really enjoyed this issue. Once again, the writing and the storytelling by Tim Seeley continues to be stellar, along with the equally on par artwork and colouring of Javier Fernandez and Chris Sotomayor. As always, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video. By all means, please feel free to leave a comment below in the comment section. Tell me what you thought of the video and what you thought yourselves of the issue itself. Are you enjoying the series so far? Are you a bit dubious about picking it up? Are you going to wait for the first trade to come out? Are you going to be picking up the 6-part crossover involving the Monster Men within the pages of the Batman, Nightwing, and Detective Comics titles when that drops in a few, probably about a month or so? No. Probably about a month and a half's time is actually when when the crossover starts. I know I know that Nightwing in issue 5 is actually involved in that crossover, so it's going to be about probably a month and a half ish, probably a bit longer before that crossover actually starts. I know I mentioned before that I was a bit iffy on Detective Comics. I enjoyed it to a point, but it's not. It's a great title. It's a well-written title. It's got great characters. It was a great team that's assembled, but just James Tynion's writing of the characters is a little bit inconsistent, and the unfortunate absence of Eddie Burrows on artwork is also a flaw that keeps me from wanting to read the rest of the series. Not that the other artist is bad per se, but I'm a bit dubious about picking the title up in the long term, but I'll probably pick up all 3 series for the duration of the crossover, which is only going to be about a month anyway, or a month or 2, so not too bad. So I might pick up the crossover and then obviously stick with Batman and Nightwing for the long haul. Once again, thank you all for watching, hope you all enjoyed, and until next time, this is Scambit896 signing off, and I'll see you guys next time.